Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and Daredevil just slid into the MCU almost as fast as he slid into our hearts. Wow, I just got added to the Intelligentsia mailing list. Unsubscribe! Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock changed our lives with his cameo in Spider-Man No Way Home as an expert attorney who got Peter Parker off the hook, and now as the attorney for a superhero costumer who knows his identity, Daredevil just got himself off. Phrasing. This team up between Daredevil and She-Hulk not only gave us a thrilling half hour of streaming content, their budding relationship just changed the entire legal landscape of the MCU as Phase 4 shifts into Phase 5. So as we look ahead to Jen hopefully showing up in Daredevil Born Again, will this end in the launch of the firm of Nelson and Murdock and Walters? Or these two horn dogs venting that JD energy on opposite sides of a Civil War dispute? It was love at first sight for Jen and Matt, or sight for Jen, but heartbeat eavesdrop for Matt. And you can even tell by the way Jen first responded to her new opposing counsel.
Who's this asshole?
I guess you gotta work at these things. But Jen goes on.
Oh, if the defendant has nothing to hide, then why not hear from his clients?
I would say that's a gross invasion of people's privacy based on a very shaky what if.
Oh, Matt, you may not be speaking Jen's love language, but you're totally speaking mine. A very shaky what if indeed. He could have said a more lawyerly, shaky hypothetical, but no, he said what if, as this rivalry turned partnership, and even Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock's presence here strikes many viewers as a dream scenario what if episode, especially considering this Daredevil just completed this crossover from the Netflix side of the universe, seemingly fully intact. He introduces himself with the same theme music from John Paisano.
So, are you like a superhero? Like the Gold Devil?
I'm Daredevil.
And his response there means he expected Jen to know who Daredevil is, meaning the guy's a reputation in New York City, the devil of Hell's Kitchen already. Based on at least a few years worth of vigilante work, the guy's figured out his brand, his iconography, his gear with his padded body armor and his horns and his baton connected by a chain. He is a true man without fear when it comes to combat, well versed in the same kind of flips and rolls and parkour that he would do in the Netflix series, and he's street smart enough to know the difference between goons and henchmen. And yeah, Daredevil. And as an attorney, he's in the middle of a busy career.
Well, I run my practice in Hell's Kitchen. And we mostly do pro bono work, the us part. But I do on occasion take a job with a bigger client when the bills start piling up. The them part.
Yes, you heard that right. He said we mostly do pro bono work. We! Say his name, Matt! Foggy Nelson is MCU canon! She-Hulk will likely end with Jen Walters leaving GLK&H to start her own firm, or maybe to become in-house counsel to MCU organizations like the Avengers, or the Sorcerers, or the Thunderbolts, or hey, why not the TVA? They need a lawyer, everybody does. But her reunion with Matt Murdock in Daredevil Born Again now seems inevitable. The series is gonna run 18 episodes when it releases in 2024, and it's set to begin production early next year. So there's still time to, sure, throw her a couple episodes. While Charlie Cox has downplayed how much She-Hulk will set up Born Again, he did leave the door open at D23.
So it'd be, we only got that one episode, so it'd be really cool if she was to come and maybe do a little arc in our show.
Cox so far has been a bit cryptic about the plot of the Daredevil Born Again series, confirming it would not be a fourth season of the Netflix Daredevil series, but rather be a kind of tonal reset for the character. I don't think that's meant to erase his entire history from the Netflix seasons, but I also don't expect him to often reference that time he, teamed up with other Defenders to fight the Hand. Based on Matt's chemistry with Jen, it seems possible they could partner up professionally as Nelson and Murdock and Walters, or it'd probably be like Walters and Nelson and Murdock. Yeah, in that case, Foggy would be the meat of that sandwich. Lucky man. Then again, I'm not so sure, because this episode outlined a clearer philosophical division between these two people that I think would make their romantic chemistry more complicated and thus more fun to watch in future team-ups. Have you ever stopped yourself from getting a little treat because you just broke the bank on a tank of gas or a big load of groceries? We've all done that mental math in our heads and deprived ourselves of that pumpkin spice latte we rightfully deserve, but our friends at Upside are here to get you some cash back on those expensive purchases so that you can be as pumpkin spiced as your heart desires. Upside is a free app that lets you earn cash back on everyday purchases like gas, groceries, or dinner. It's easy to use and it works. For me, Upside is essential for buying gas. When my tank's on empty, I open the Upside app, search for a nearby gas station offering a good deal, claim it, and then head there to buy the gas. I can check in or snap a pic of the receipt, and then I'm good to go. No special cards to carry or numbers to remember, just Upside's app already on my phone. Anytime I want, I can cash out on my bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon or other other brands. Upside users are earning more than $1 million every week, and it has a 4.8 star rating on the App Store. To get started, download the free Upside app and use the code NEWROCKSTARS to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. Jen was arguably just doing her best to represent her client, Eugene Patilio, but her debate with Matt got personal.
There is no inherent right to privacy when employing Mr. Jacobson's tailoring services.
But we're not just talking about a product here. The very nature of Mr. Jacobson's line of work, making suits exclusively for superheroes, necessitates anonymity. May I remind you that the Sokovia Accords have been repealed.
I started to go into this in another video, but the repeal of the Sokovia Accords is a major legal precedent overturned from the last phase of the MCU. Captain America Civil War established that being an unregistered, anonymous superhero is a violation of international law. But since the Sokovia Accords seemed more aimed at the Avengers in the aftermath of their collateral damage in Age of Ultron, it makes sense that it would be overruled in the aftermath of their redemptive victory in Avengers Endgame, kind of like a pardon to all the Avengers for, bringing half of everyone back to life. Still, the philosophical debate over superhero oversight and registration ain't going anywhere. In fact, it's probably going to become more and more of a problem in the MCU now that this universe is flooding with unlicensed mutants and super soldiers, extraterrestrials, wizards, crazy engineers. The debate over whether superheroes have a right to anonymity was addressed in the first act of Civil War, but they quickly moved on from it as the conflict of that movie became more centered around the personal feud among Tony, Bucky, and Cap. I would argue it made for a better movie, but the core debate that made the Civil War comic event so interesting was really left behind and never fully answered, which is why it's really exciting to see this episode of She-Hulk bringing it back to the forefront.
Superheroes operate in the public eye. As public figures, it is assumed that there will be some loss of privacy.
The distinction here is we're not talking about celebrities. We're talking about superheroes who have enemies who will try to harm them, and the people close to them, the ones who didn't ask to be a part of this life. Now, Ms. Walters chose to have her identity be public, but it isn't up to her to choose for everyone else.
Damn, a really low blow there for Matt. Ms. Walters chose to have her identity be public. I mean, it wasn't Jen's choice to get Bruce's blood, but unlike Bruce, she can choose whether or not to Hulk out. And he uses this ad hominem attack by implying Jen is a privileged celebrity. Yes, he is being a bit of a hypocrite as he is defending his own choice of anonymity as a vigilante outside the law. But either way, both of these lawyers remain on totally opposite sides of a spectrum on this issue. So with the Sokovia Accords out of the way, this debate over superhero privacy and registration can totally return to the MCU, removed from the exceptionalism of the Avengers, and instead get explored on a case-by-case basis from the point of views of the newcomers to this franchise. And while that can be fought in various ways with powers and weaponry, in the courtroom representing those factions can be, on the pro-registration side, She-Hulk, and on the anti-registration side, Daredevil. The MCU is now perfectly set up for a true Civil War conflict, not just in one movie, but an ongoing miniseries that involves Sentinels and mutants and all the other new heroes who prefer anonymity and need an advocate to represent their interests. So opposing them, leading Team She-Hulk, we got Jennifer Walters, and joining her, I think you'd see Bruce Banner, James Rhodes, the Fantastic Four, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, Kamala Khan, Doctor Strange, Wang, Thor, the Asgardians, the Illuminati if they're still alive somewhere in the multiverse, or in this reality, and depending on how much they'd like to play ball with oversight, the Wakandans, and Shang-Chi. I really think that list are the proud public celebrity heroes. Meanwhile, on Team Daredevil, I think we'd have the anonymous Peter Parker, I mean, who even is that guy? The Thunderbolts, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night, Man-Thing, Wanda if she's still alive somewhere, Wolverine and Deadpool, and given these characters reasons to distrust the government, Captain America Sam Wilson, Scott Lang, Cassie Lang, Hope Van Dyne, and Hank Pym. Also probably most of the mutants. So things are pretty balanced on either side of that battle line. And Marvel Studios could simply boil this down to Avengers versus X-Men or Fantastic Four versus the Freaks. I want to know, which team would you be on? Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at EA Voss. Follow New Rockstars and subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Bye.